So, peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this series. Let me just get everything ready. First, I want to thank a few people. I had a lot of sisters who have been saying to me that they miss when I used to go live and I used to do talks. Let me just check in on Facebook and make sure that you all can hear me before I keep talking because I might have to start over. Okay, let me just see. Talking. Okay. All right, so here we go. So I am Dr. Eminence, and this series that I wanted to do is called Building Healthy Relationships. And I know a lot of so called self proclaimed gurus are now taking center stage and teaching about relationship goals and what we should look for in a relationship. And they have all these ideas of what they feel relationships are about and what relationships should entail. So I just wanted to talk about what we should be doing before we even get into a relationship. I think that that's the most important part of having a strong, healthy marriage. And while I'm speaking on marriage, I want to take this moment to thank my husband for his support, his love, and his encouragement. Because honestly, I could not be the woman that I'm growing every day to become without having a good husband. A lot of people are feeling like women these days are so modern and we're not traditional and we don't want to be married. We prefer our career over a family life. And that's not necessarily true 100%. I don't know how true it is for some people, but I can only speak of the women that are like myself. We actually desire to have that stability that comes with having a family life and having a husband. So, just speaking on what I know that I desired that. So, I'm pretty sure that there's other women out there like myself who desire the same exact thing, a good husband. And I'm so thankful that I have one. So, I just wanted to start this program off by thanking my husband for being a great man. I mean, I can't words cannot express how beneficial you are to me and how being your wife is such a blessing. And I want you to know that every single day I am thankful for it. Okay, so that being said, now I want to um, ask everybody watching this to say a little prayer for a sister of mine. She currently is in the hospital. Her name is Sister Edwina Muhammad. I want everyone to take a second and just say a prayer for our sister. I don't know what you pray to or who you pray to or how you pray, but all prayers are needed right now for my sister, Sister Edwina Muhammad. I pray that you are healed from the top of your crown to the sole of your feet. I want to say that publicly because you have supported, not just because you've supported me personally over the years, but you are a true sister. You love your sisters. So, whatever you're going through, we are going through too. And we are praying for you and we want you to be healed. Okay, so now the next thing I wanted to talk about is, did you all get a chance to download the PDF files for this broadcast? Because I wanted everyone to be able to follow along as I read some of the stuff from a book. This is actually a book I wrote. So I'm taking like excerpts from the book, like a chapter, and I'm doing a series on it so that we can go over it. And it was requested by a sister of mine. She said, "Hey, you don't go live anymore. You don't do the relationship stuff anymore. I need you to get back on that." And you know what? I feel like she's right. I should get back on it. And part of the reason why I stopped was because I wasn't married. Um, and so I just felt like to be talking about marriage and stuff, you have to have that stability in your own life before you start telling other people about marriage life. Because if you're not a woman waking up every day and being responsible as a wife, doing everything that needs to be done for your husband, the cooking, the cleaning, the washing the clothes, the ironing the clothes, the making sure he's happy in every way. If you're not doing that, it's really hard to address certain topics because you're not in a position to differentiate whether or not it is absurd or it is within the lines of marriage because you're not actually going through it. So it's more of a credibility factor. Being creditable means that you practice what you preach, you live what you talk about. So I, of course, have been married prior to this, as many of you do know. Like, I've never not been married. Like, I've been married my whole adult life. And that was my desire even as a child. As a child, I wanted to be married. Like, I knew I was going to be somebody's wife. And that was my whole mindset as a child. Like, I remember my mother, she would tell me, like, "Hey," and I'm like 4, 5, and 6, and she's like in the kitchen. She's like, "Honey, stir this, cook this." I remember I cooked a full meal. By the time I was 9 years old, my mom could be like, "Hey, you're cooking dinner tonight," and I would cook the whole meal. And so that's just how I was raised. Like, and when my grandmother, she would come in from the West Indies, she already knew I was trained, and I'd be in there serving her and mopping the floors, and I'm like a little girl, like 5 and 6 and stuff. And it was just like in my upbringing, that was the norm. Like, you served your husband. My brother wasn't even allowed to clean up, and I know in certain households that's like unbelievable because chores are for everybody. But when I was growing up, my brother didn't do anything. Like, my brother, he kept his bedroom clean, and even with that, my mother would go in there once a week and like clean under the bed and do a thorough cleansing of his room. And that's just how it was for me. But the more I'm advancing through life and meeting new people, I'm understanding that there's a dynamic that's different among cultures. And unfortunately, here in America, people are more so in survival mode. So the rearing and the teaching that adolescents should receive when they're little, they're just not getting it. And it's not even their fault. But then at some point as an adult, you have to say, "Hey, these are the areas I need to improve in." And you can't worry about what you didn't have when you were growing up and what could have been better for you. It's kind of irrelevant at that point. So I just wanted to share that. So I am understanding that in effectively communicating with people, there are barriers that sometimes make us be at odds. And you have to get an understanding of each individual that you interact with. You have to get an understanding of their upbringing in order for you to be able to assess the situation a little better, if that makes sense. So going into that, so now everybody who printed it out, this is what you should be looking at if you printed it out. I don't know if you had a chance to, but the first couple of pages is just an overview of what the series is about. The different, I call them modules because this is a curriculum and this is a course. Of course, it's from a book I wrote, but this is actually part of the workshop that deals with actually taking the book and bringing it into our lives and making it applicable every day. So, for the first part of the module, we're going to be dealing with understanding the importance of self improvement, recognizing the significance of self awareness and personal growth in relationship building, exploring the impact of unresolved issues and emotional baggage on potential partnership. We're also going to go over identifying common obstacles to healthy relationships and how self improvement can overcome them. So, I see you all. I see some comments coming in, and I will address some of the comments. Um, so, but for right now, I kind of want to get right into it because this is being recorded, of course, so you all can go back and, go back over it. So, the program in the future, I do have other guests that will be on. Some are married women, some are single women, and we'll be talking about healthy relationships, experiences, just everything that correlates to the dynamics of building a healthy marriage. And also, there will be brothers from time to time, of course, because that is part of the balance. Like, the whole objective is to unify as Black man and Black woman and learn how to communicate effectively and get along with each other, and especially have good dialogue, because a lot of the problems that you see in our community is because of a misunderstanding, dealing with poor communication. So really, miscommunication is what's having a heavy impact on our day-to-day life, because you have Black women who feel rejected, Black men who feel rejected. You have Black women who have been mistreated, Black males that have been mistreated. And we have to learn how to understand each other's plight without discrediting or overshadowing the other with our perspective on what they've gone through, because psychologically that's just wrong to tell someone that what they feel is invalid, and not given consideration, why they feel that way. A lot of relationships that end could have been repaired had they just sat down and talked about, okay, why do you feel that way? Why don't you like me? Why do you love me but don't like me? I mean, someone can be madly in love with you, but they don't like you. They don't like the way you operate. They don't like the way you think. They don't like your mentality, but they love you. But liking someone, oh my God, that's a whole nother aspect of being in a relationship. We're going to get into all of that. So for the first part, um, we're dealing with recognizing the significance of self awareness and personal growth. We're defining self awareness and its importance in relationship building. How self awareness enhances emotional intelligence and communication skills. The link between self awareness and setting healthy boundaries. So, in the book, when you get to this part, it tells you to take some time for introspection and self reflection. Consider your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your aspirations. Reflect on how knowing yourself better can positively impact your relationships. Now, that right there is a lot. You really think about self awareness, like what it means in your own personal life to have self awareness for yourself. How does that look when you meet someone else? if you truly have self awareness. So when you meet other people and you're aware of yourself, you don't do certain stuff just because you want to be around that person, because you understand that maybe this person just isn't my cup of tea. So within the first like moments of meeting a man or a woman, because we're talking about relationships, and you meet this person and you say, "Hey, I could fix this person," or I think I could um, become what they want, what they're looking for. If that's the first thought, and it's not, oh, we get along so well, we have a lot in common. Wow, our vibe is so smooth. See, when you meet someone and it's bumpy, bumpy, bumpy from day one, how do you think that's going to change? That means that you're not aware of yourself. You're not aware that this is not something that's healthy for me. So now you're going to spend forever trying to calm a storm that was never meant to be unweathered by you and that individual. Compatibility is a key factor, but if you don't have self-awareness, it's very hard to find someone that you're compatible with because you don't even know yourself. You're not even aware of what gets you inspired, motivated, what angers you, what makes you happy. You don't have a mindset of what you're looking for. So anything you find, you just trying to make it fit. So you're like how they say you cannot fit a square in a circle, but you're trying to compress it and put it in there because you honestly don't have, and I'm not going to say you don't have self-love, but self-love allows you to not get yourself into situations that don't serve you. And I'm talking to male or female. Prime example, you meet a woman, say you're a man, you meet a woman and she's like, "Oh, I love to go out of town. I like to just go on a map and choose a location and I just go there. I like to go in my United Airlines and just where it says getaway, I just any, mini, mighty, mo, and pick whatever place." You meet a woman like that and you're a stable guy who does plans every move of your life, but now here you are with a woman that's all over the place and you're trying to make that work. And now she's like, "Hey, why are you trying to control me? Who told you to try to control me?" And you don't understand what she's saying because you're so set in your own ideology that I'm not doing anything wrong. Whatever she's talking about, I don't know what she's talking about because I'm doing everything right. So you don't get what she's talking about at all. You just don't get it. You don't understand that you're cramping her style because you don't want her to just get up and jump on a flight and go wherever she wants to go and have a good time. And that was who she was and that's who she is, and you're trying to change that because your self-awareness was so not present that you allowed yourself to get in a situation with an individual that's not compatible. So not to go too far into that, that's just one example. Another example for a woman is that you meet a man and he's like, "Hey, I love home cooked food every night. I want to come home from work and have a wife shower me with good food." And then you get with him and you're not that woman. You never were that woman, but you did all of that just to get his attention. And now it's time to show and prove, and you're not cooking anything. So he's like, "Hey, baby, I need my woman to cook." And now you saying, "Don't try to make me something that I'm not." But you were that way to attract him, or you knew that's what he required of his woman, but want to you didn't want to be that woman from the beginning. So now you're in a relationship and you're not even yourself because you did whatever it took to get with the person because your self-awareness was just not present. So that's why it's important to learn before you get into a relationship, what I like and what I don't like, what I want and what I don't want. I want a man like this. I want a woman like that because I'm like this. So if you love to read and study and you want a mate that would like to read and study, then that means you need to be looking in those areas where those type of people exist. You know, you're not going to go to a nightclub. And I'm not saying people in a nightclub don't like to read and study. But if you're a person that likes to read and study and you don't like to go to the club, then maybe you shouldn't pick up people at the club and try to change them, is all I'm saying. You know, maybe you should meet people who are already where you're at, you know, and you yourself, if you're not good, don't pretend to be a certain way just to attract someone, and then you get them and they're all like, what happened? What happened? This is not the person that I wanted. But anyway, back on topic. Okay. So that's just self awareness. I like this. I don't like this. I will accept this. I won't accept this. Oh, I just realized I like skiing. I just realized I love bowling. I just realized that I don't like a lot of noise. I just realized that I don't want to be in a household that cooks spaghetti. I don't know. Whatever it is that you have come to realize about yourself, that's what you go upon when it's time to get you a mate. Like you get someone that falls in line with that. Also, make sure that you fall in line with their expectations of what they seek in a mate as well. All right, so the next part, how self awareness enhances emotional intelligence and communication skills. Okay, this is really good. Okay, because you ever heard the saying that if you put a rotten apple in the basket, it'll rot the other apples. I know I didn't say it right, but y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. So it's just like in a relationship. If you're an edified person, you need somebody that's edified because they keep you sharp. They keep you inspired to be better. They keep you motivated. They keep you on your A game, so to speak. You know, you're on your best behavior because you have somebody that's like you, an intellectual who is doing what they need to do, and they're positive and they're, speaking this love and affirmations over you, and you are comfortable and confident in not only them, but more so in the bond that you have that's going to elevate the both of you, because it's much bigger than you when you're in a relationship. It's like you got to consider the if like because it could be good for you, but is it good for the other person? Are you taking more than you're giving? Is there a balance that every both parties are pouring into the spiritual pot and into the development of the relationship, putting their best foot forward? Because if it's just one sided, like she's doing more and you're not, that's not fair. Or he's doing more and you're not, that's not fair either. So knowing how to utilize the intelligence that comes from being self aware, you're going to allow yourself to communicate better because you're going to know what you're trying to hear. And you're also going to know what you say brings out the best in someone else, because that's what you're trying to see. Because people who are self-aware, they're very careful with their mouth. They don't communicate to offend or hurt you. They communicate to heal and to make the relationship go smoother. So here's an example. When something is done that they don't like, right? Because nobody's perfect. And we could go through all of this course or any other study, and we will find out that we all have character flaws and we all have areas of improvement. Like we seriously need to do some improving in some of the areas in our life. And so if we are honest with ourselves, we will realize that, hey, you know what? I literally have some improving to do on myself. Like I can't even hold somebody to certain extents because I have work I need to do on myself. And I'm not talking about no weight or nothing like that. I'm talking about a mentality like being kind, being courteous, being loving, being caring, being considerate, being compassionate, having empathy. These are traits that should be found in anyone seeking a mate. How can you expect someone to share their life with you and you're cold, you're mean, you're bitter, you're insulting, you're offensive, you're defaming? Everything you do is spiteful, revengeful, deceitful. You're lying, you're stealing, you're cheating. All of this stuff. That I mean, now listen. If that's how you are, you need a mate that's just like you. Don't go getting no good person, and this is how you are. And because there is somebody for everybody. There's somebody out here right now that wants somebody, to go rob a bank with them. And I'm not saying anybody should be doing that, but I'm just saying, why would you go get somebody who's not into that? Whether you're male or female, it's crazy. It's crazy. So that's self-awareness, and there's an intelligence in that, because now you're only surrounding yourself and building a world for yourself that's beneficial to you. Like you're not about to spend 5 years in a relationship that you know is not going to work. Why would you do that? Like when you could just find someone out there who's compatible. Self-awareness. Okay. And that's why it's saying that it enhances emotional intelligence, because you now know how to dodge situations with people and individuals that's not good for you emotionally. Because when your emotions are all over the place because you're not in a good relationship, your hormones get distorted, and now you're having psychological issues because you don't know how to handle how you're being mishandled, because you really are being mishandled. And that's a dissatisfaction for anybody. And you're at a disadvantage because while you're spending so much time trying to pull yourself up after someone else is putting you down, that's time that your creative energy could have been utilized in a whole nother compartment. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people are going through. That's what a lot of people are going through. And it's sad, but it's true. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm trying to learn how to do this whole stream. So sorry about that again. So I'm trying to learn how to do this whole social media, because I've had a lot of people, whenever I stop, they like, why did you stop? Um, why don't you start back? And so I'm getting back into it. So I just had to try to check on my YouTube and my Instagram and see how everything's going. But I will be honest and just tell you right now that this study, whether you watch my series or anything, please, whether you're married, single, courting, or just about to get out there, learn who you are. Learn your strengths and your weaknesses, because those can be used against you. You want someone to learn you to use that against you. You know what I mean? You don't want someone to learn you to use that against you. That's so bad, right? But you do it to yourself when you don't know who you are and you jump into a relationship and you don't quite understand what you're getting yourself into because you really don't know what you like and what you don't like. So that's what this is all about. So um, the next part is the link between self awareness and setting healthy boundaries. Now, we're all on different pages when it comes to like boundaries in a relationship. But before you get into a relationship, there should be boundaries in just the day to day friendships, uh, parent and child relationships, mother daughter relationships, brother sister. There's boundaries in every relationship. So who you are should not change from person to person. Everyone should know what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate. You don't have like over this way, I'm a savage, and then over here, I'm dignified, and then over here, I'm just the homegirl or around the way girl. You don't want that. You want to actually have boundaries set. No matter who you're dealing with, you have your do's and don'ts. Like, don't do this and don't do that because I'm not just somebody you just can do whatever you want to. And if you get into a relationship and you don't have healthy boundaries, like, say, for instance, you're a man, you have a car, the girl you're in a relationship with doesn't have a car, and she just borrows your car and she's gone like a week or two with your car. I'm not saying that could happen because people always talk about guys driving girls' cars, but women drive men's cars as well. So I just switched the role on that. Say whoever's borrowing whoever's car, like, you're not gonna just go take their car, go pick up another man or pick up another woman, and then hanging out in this person's vehicle with somebody else. Those are boundaries. Like, you like, how did a person get that comfortable with you that they even thought they could do that is what I'm not understanding. And the reason why I'm saying this, because this has happened to people. I've heard this from people before about someone borrowing their car to take somebody else on a date. And in my mind, it's like, that's because you're not setting healthy boundaries. Because what would be in a person's head that they could do that in your vehicle is because they just feel like you are a friend and not a love interest. And that's something else we'll be talking about later on. Not everybody that you like is liking you in the way that you like them. And you can't force that in a relationship that's not there. There are some people who are content with just, and I'm going to say this, being sexually intimate with people. And this is for males and females. There's females that are okay with just laying down with whatever man they feel like laying down with. There are men who, in the same retrospect, they feel it's okay to just lay with any woman that they want to lay with no extra commitments, and that works for them. I mean, that's how they live their life, and more power to them. You just have to make sure that if that's not who you are, that you don't attach yourself to someone like that. You should have prioritized your expectations and your belief systems prior to getting in a relationship. You should have evaluated. That's where we come with the self awareness, what you want and what you don't want. And you ask those questions automatically. As soon as you meet the person, hey, what are you looking for with me? And they're like, what? They're like, what are you looking at? It doesn't matter just because the person's a Muslim like you, or if you're a Christian, the person's a Christian like you, or if you're Jewish, whatever you might be, because there are Black Jewish people. So regardless of what, they say they believe in, you still have to find out, okay, does this person value and respect the virtues of a woman or even the virtues of himself? I was told that men can't be virtuous, they could be chaste. So they could be chastened, meaning that they save themselves, but they can't be like virtuous because that's not a characteristic of a male. Some people will dispute that, but it makes sense to me. So, because that does, like, virtuous, that does sound like kind of feminine, like, because women are like virgins, men can be virgins too, but I do see how that could be like a feminine you know concept, and how being chaste is something that could be masculinized, like a man could be chaste. So if you want a chaste man, you should find that out right away. Don't wait, like, down the road, and he has these expectations and you don't, and you are like, hey, not before marriage, and he's like, hey, right now. That's kind of like stuff that should have been discussed ahead of time, like, hey, I'm not really interested in that, and oh, I am interested in that, because like I said, just because we say we're this or we're that, people are their own individuals, and people have a right to have their own way they operate. That's called free will. So I'm not a person that's here to condemn anybody for what they do. And I don't want you to ever feel uncomfortable tuning in, because I'm not judging you. I sit in no seat high enough to judge anybody that's watching this. I am a human just like you. And I'm learning every day more and more how to be godlike and how to thrive in what God wants for me and what's best for me in my life. So I don't have time to be condemning nobody, nor do I want that notion. This is a judge free zone. And even everybody that ever comes on this show, they're not judging you either, I assure you. So, back to what I was talking about. So, the next part is exploring the impact of unresolved issues and emotional baggage on potential partnerships. Ooh, that one's heavy, y'all. That one's heavy. Did you want me to repeat it again? Exploring the impact of unresolved issues and emotional baggage on potential partnerships. Whew, y'all, that one's heavy. So, here's one of the key concepts to what I just said. So, identifying unresolved issues and emotional baggage from past experiences. Just think about that. Past experiences and the baggage that's associated and affiliated with having a past. Now, I'm not one to say, oh, don't date this person because they have a past, or don't talk to that person because they have a past, because people can change, right? But you're not going to tell me that you're going to be oblivious to somebody's past, because that's kind of foolish, and to be 100% honest, it's your fault when certain things happen to you if you just turn a blind eye to the obvious, and when I say the obvious, it's like, if if somebody tells you, like, oh, I've been with X amount of people, and you're like, okay, so when's the last time you've been with people? And they're like, last week. So are you going to get into a relationship, a serious relationship with someone who's that promiscuous, and you expect them to just change overnight because they met you? Like, you're so much different and special than someone else, and they've clearly have a track history of just doing whatever with whoever whenever. So that's what I'm saying, like, don't be stupid about it. Like, now, someone having a past telling you, oh, I've been through this, I've been through that, you cannot really judge that individual, because that individual has a right to have gone through whatever they've gone through. That is their past, and it's none of your business unless they are bringing it, or their past is coming to you. Like somebody's coming to your door, like this person is doing this still. And that's different. But somebody's past, and like some of you brothers watching this, you probably know a woman that you like or have liked, and you just didn't date her because her reputation wasn't so good, and you just decided that wasn't a good look for you. And for right now in your life, you just didn't want to man up to that one, because you have that right, because a woman should preserve her reputation. Like she really should. She has to think about that. Like, hey, one day I might want to settle down and get married, so I might not want to do too much. I might want to make sure that any man that gets me feels like he has a good catch, a prize. Because, yeah, women are catches and prizes too, just like you men are catches and prizes. I know that's just something that's out there today in the media. I mean, people are having a field day with it. And I already spoke my little 2 cents about that. I feel like the man is the prize, because a good black man is hard to find. So if you got a good black man, I mean, you better celebrate. I have a good black man. Oh, alhamdulillah. And if you're Christian, that just means all praise to God. So no different. Like if you got a good black man, you better praise God. And now I'm talking about him. Praise that man. Let that black man know, hey, I don't care what the statistics is saying, you winning, brother. Like you are my black God, my king, my man. Like you are a prize, baby. Because let me tell you, there's nothing like celebrating your mate. And if you're a man, celebrate your woman, celebrate her. Because I heard something, and I don't think that the person that said it even knows how powerful it was that they said. He said that woman that you have at home that you don't think much of is somebody else's tent. When I heard that, I was like, wow. And I always try to utilize stuff in the other way. So if you got a man at home, you might not treat him according to what his worth is. And guess what? There's somebody out there that's like, that man, if I had that man would get treated like this. So I'm just being honest. You got to consider that. Like, you cannot just get these men and mistreat them. And brothers, you cannot get these sisters and mistreat them, because I don't care how fine you are, there's somebody finer. I don't care how nice your body is, there's some brother or sister with a better body. So this is on both sides. I don't care how intelligent you are, there's a smarter sister, there's a smarter brother. I don't care how much money you have, there's a brother with more money, there's a sister with more money. And while we're talking about money, let me just go into that really, really fast, because that is another topic that's out here. I mean, it's out here. So let's talk about it. Before you go, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be another topic, because when I have the guest on, we're going to talk about this, because I want some guests to come on and talk about this subject, because this is real. So there are some sisters, and I'm gonna first address the sisters because this needs to be said. So there are some sisters, right? They're single, right? And the reason why they're single, and I just gotta laugh thinking about it because it's so sad, but you know how you laugh to stop from crying? So there's some sisters and they're single, and they've made themselves content with being single because they're waiting for a rich brother. And I'm not joking. They're waiting for a man with money to come into their life, right? They're waiting for someone to buy them whatever they desire, take them on trips, take them to restaurants, spend like $1,000 a dinner, uh, uh, take them on shopping sprees, just all types of stuff. Buy them a big, giant, beautiful home. Um, buy them not just a regular car, that Rolls Royce truck, that Bentley truck, that sweet stuff, you know. Um, and the reason why I'm saying this is because they can't even buy themselves $100 dinner, you know, and they're waiting for a man to come into their life and just completely remove them from their current condition and give them a life cannot afford. And they're serious. It's not a joke. It's not it's not like they're playing. Um they are serious. They're waiting on a man to come into their life and basically save them from poverty. And I'm not saying a man's not supposed to come in your life and make your life better. I think a woman does that too. A woman's supposed to come in your life and make your life better, you know? I think that goes both ways for the male and the female. If you're not trying to make a man's life better, why are you in his life? If you're not trying to make a woman's life better, why are you in her life? Like, we're supposed to come in each other's life and make each other's life better. But to have impoverished or deprived life and say, hey, I know my come up. I'm not about to get that job. I'm not about to go back to school. I'm not about to take up a trade or do anything to make more money. I'm just going to find a man to save me. That's where it gets kind of crazy. I don't care who you are and you try to dispute this with me, sister. That's not how to do it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like the generosity of a man should be to spoil you and treat you according to how you deserve to be treated. I'm gonna be honest. If you're a wife and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're not cooking, you're not cleaning, you're not keeping his clothes together, you're not easing his mind, speaking life into him, making him feel good. You're not, making him understand that his money is being well spent, and letting him like completely fall in love with you and fall in love with your whole creation. And see, when a woman's a good woman because her man is even good to other women. And when I say that, like, some of you women, y'all want y'all man to walk, y'all men are so mean. Like, they're so rude and mean, and that's because you can tell they're not being loved properly. Because a man that is loved properly, he loves women. And it's no offense to you, because he's a good man. A good man is supposed to be a good man to everybody. Like, my husband in particular, I've known my husband like 2 decades, right? And this man is the same man that he was then now. He just, of course, has improved over the years, because that's what wisdom does. But as in regards of his charisma, his gentleness, his kindness, how he treats women, how he talks to women, all of that. Like, every woman that I know loves my husband. They just like, he's so nice. And he's not fresh at all. And praise be to Allah that he's not, because that was one of the biggest, you know, when you think of a person, you say, like, what is the most uh unbelievable trait they have? My husband is pure hearted. Like, he's pure hearted. He's like in a class of men who once walked this planet that don't exist anymore. But through him, I believe that men like that exist, because I have one that exists that's real. Like, my husband represents a new man, because they don't make them like that. Like, my husband, There's not a person, male or female, that knows him that can say that he just did something crazy to them or mistreated them or abused them. So I have to give credit where credit is due. Through my husband is how I see Black men better. And through me, that's how he's going to see Black women better, even though he already knows and understands how to treat women. I just keep a confirmation that, hey, yeah, we deserve that treatment. And that's how it is, because you can't expect, for you single sisters watching this, you can't expect to get a man that's a good man, that knows how to be a gentleman, and want him to just be rude and cruel and mean. I've seen some stuff on like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram videos circulating where women are talking and they're like, my husband better be like Stevie Wonder to other women, or my husband better not speak, or just this crazy stuff. I couldn't imagine my husband not speaking to people. Like, I wouldn't even tell him that, because that's not even who he is. Like, if he goes in a store, he's like, good morning, how are you? If it's afternoon, I'm talking to the women, the men, everybody. He's like, hey, how are you? And the women just start conversations with my husband because he's just a friendly person, and they just talk to him. And if he was that type of man to be no good, he could have a lot of women. And it would happen easy for him, because he's just that genuine. And what woman doesn't love that? And I know that. And that's why I take good care of my Black man. You know, that's how I'm gonna tell you. So if you know you got a good man, like, there's other women that are checking for him. So why are you not taking good care of your man? It's like the women that treat the men the worst are always worried about the man cheating. It's like, I never think about my husband cheating, because first of all, I trust him. Second of all, I knew what I wanted before me and him even got together. So the fact that he's what I wanted is every reason why I'm about to judge or be concerned with what is he doing, or who is he doing it with, or anything like that, because I don't think he's that way. I know he's not that way. He's a good man. Good Black men exist. Like, they do, just like good Black women exist. Like, get you one, I'm telling you. So back to what I was saying, you're not gonna get with someone and they're not a reflection of you. If you do that, you haven't taken the time to get to know yourself, and you set yourself up for a lot of disappointment. So how okay, so this next one is how understanding past traumas and negative patterns can affect present relationships and connections. So, how understanding past traumas and negative patterns can affect present relationships and connections. So, if you were in a relationship, right? Really brief. You were in a relationship and that person had complaints about you, right? And that person told you, I like this about you, but I don't like that about you. And you just wrote them off and said, oh, whatever. And then you go into the next relationship doing the same behaviors that the previous relationship individual told you displayed, and you just keep getting into new relationships, but you never work on yourself. You never change yourself. You're finding fault and blame in everybody but yourself. Every single time you're blaming someone else, and you're never taking accountability that, hey, I might need to do some self improvement, because how could there be such a correlation that this person, that person, and this person are all saying the same things about me, but I don't see it? It doesn't even matter if you don't see it at that point. If more than one person is telling you the same thing about yourself, listen, my friend, you need to do some serious self evaluation and some soul searching, because not all of those people can be lying and saying the same thing about you and you're not addressing it. And then you go into one relationship and the next relationship and you're doing the same thing. Now, being a little vulnerable right here, I'm going to express something about me that I noticed from being in a relationship, right? So I have this thing about me where I don't like confrontation. I don't like to argue. So I'll either like shut down or I'll just cry. Like if I get to a certain point, I'm a crier. So it's either shut down or cry. But I don't like to argue. I don't like confrontation. So that could be offensive to some people because where they'll see it like it's just communicating, and I'll see it like, no, I don't want to argue. So my mind is always saying I don't want to argue. So because of that, if you elevate your voice or if you yell at me or if you just try to engage me in an argument, I just can't take it. Like, I'll just shut down. And then you're like, no, we're going to talk about this. So that's something I learned about myself where I'm like, oh, I do that. I do that. I don't want to deal with certain conversations because I don't want them to go or lead to an argument. So even if you're like a female or whoever, it's not just like male female relationships, it's just any relationship. Like, I just don't like to argue. So if I feel like the conversation could go south, I just won't take it. I'm like, all right, talk to you later. And then I'll like avoid you because I don't really want to get fall out or have, I'd rather just go my separate way. And that you cannot do in a marriage or, a courtship or anything like that, because you have to have what's called accountability, meaning that if there's serious issues that need to be talked about, they need to be talked about, like two adults. And if you're dealing with your children, you talk mother to child or father to child. And those are conversations that still need to be had because, see, certain behaviors, they don't just stop in or end because this is how I am with my mom or my brother or my uncle or my cousin or my brother or my dad. It's going to end because now I have a husband or I have a wife. Those are characteristics of us. So we have to kind of address that in order to get better at communication, because that's a key in a marriage. And another thing, I know y'all gonna hear me talk about my husband a lot, but another thing I love about my husband is he's very gentle with me. Like, we talk to each other, it's almost in like a whisper. Like, it's just us and we're just in our own world, and it's so quiet, it's so soft, it's so healing. Like, it's like being home with my husband is like being home with myself. Like, it's always just like zen, like calm. Like, I just want that for everybody else. Like, when someone is very intelligent but uses their intelligence to create a vortex. And when I say that, like, two people coming together and understanding all that can go wrong and making the conscious decision to make it go right. Like, making the conscious decision that we are going to get this right. We are going to do this right. We are going to make this marriage work. You got two people like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Like, we literally don't say anything to each other that's going to offend us. And I mean, I know some of you will say, well, that's easy to do because XYZ. No, it's never easy to do. It's a conscious decision that you have to make. You have to make a conscious decision to want to live in peace. You can't blame somebody else for a misery or a hell that you are helping to create. So both parties are at fault because, one, if the person wasn't compatible, you shouldn't have never gotten to the relationship. That's part one. Part two, if the person was compatible, but somehow things have changed, you got to go address what has changed, assess it, and see if this is even something to do with this individual. Because that's why the key that I'm on right now says how understanding past traumas and negative patterns can affect present relationships. So that's why I said I was being vulnerable. I told you about a pattern that I had was like the going within myself and getting real quiet, or the crying, because that's how I averted or didn't deal with the actual aspect of communicating effectively with someone else. So those are patterns. That's a pattern I had to break. Like me, if I get my feelings hurt, not now, but at a point in my life, if you hurt my feelings, I couldn't retaliate. Like there are people right now, I promise you, that male, female, whatever, friend, whatever, that have said things to me that I couldn't even get. Like a lot of people be like, I need to get my lick back. I couldn't even do it. Like, whether they tried to embarrass me or whatever. And I just left it alone and went on with my life because I just literally couldn't do it. Like I just can't. Like I'm not a mudslinger. Like I could see you do the most craziest stuff or really like have what they call the tea or some juice, and I still hold it within. And because I just can't do it. But there are some people that literally live in a glass house and they throw stones all day. And I see it and I'm like, I just can't entertain that because I'm just not wired that way. Like I ultimately don't want to hurt someone's feelings. So I'm thankful I have a mate like that as well. Like he doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And that is such a beautiful attribute to have. Compassion, you know? And so these are all tying in with the what I was talking about breaking patterns, so you can have a healthy relationship. So the next one is strategies for healing and letting go of emotional baggage for healthier connections. So listen, we live in an age now where people are into yoga, they're into meditation, they're into Pilates, not so much as they used to, but people are in the gym, people go swimming, people play basketball, people do a lot of different activities that can burn off some of the excess, baggage. I mean, they might not know that's what's happening, but physical activities always help mental clarity. And sometimes for some people, they just are good at like being still and listening to music or lying on their mat and meditating or, just, I hope not all the time, a good snack, Some people, they feel better after like a nice healthy meal or not so healthy meal, but y'all get the point. So find something that you can do that becomes a strategy for letting go of emotional bondage and baggage so that you can have healthier connections. So say you get upset, and in your past relationships, when you got upset, you did the whole name calling, you did the whole, rude and nasty and mean and, snapping and all of this extra stuff that don't nobody really deserves. You did all of that. And so this go round, you like, hey, I'm not trying to ruin this. I'm trying to actually make this work. So this is a good time to think about steam releasing activities that you can get yourself involved in so that when you get angry, I know me and my husband talked about this one time. I asked him, like, what would you do if you got mad with me? And he was like, he's just gonna go take a walk. And so if I ever see him go out that door and just go walking, I'm not going to follow behind him. And that's something else that a lot of people do wrong. Um, if someone is upset, why would you? Okay, that's a whole nother topic. But I know everybody on here, I know you all are on like social media. So you see these videos where the woman is like gonna make the man talk and chase him down, and now he's beating her up and she's fighting him, or she swung on him, and all of this, and it could have been avoided. Look, if somebody needs to go for a drive to cool off, look, let them go for that drive because their mental health matters. You do not, and this is another thing I want to talk about. You do not control someone. A relationship is not where you get to control someone. You do not, and I don't have a TV, so let me see. This is a stapler, but let's just say this is a remote. You do not get to push buttons and determine where this person goes, and this, when they stop talking to other people, when they, you don't get to do that. That's where mate selection comes in and everything we're talking about. Before you even get in a relationship with somebody, you should know that this person is, I like how like my 5 percenters be calling people their A alike, but this person is your A alike. You do not have to go chasing behind somebody to make them do right. If you have to do that, I mean, more power to you, but isn't that going to get old and tiresome at some point? Like, are you really going to keep running behind this man or this woman saying, hey, who are you talking to? Hey, stop that. Hey, where you at? Or are you on the phone? They're grocery shopping, or they're wherever they're at, and every 3 minutes you calling their phone because you don't trust them. Like, that is just crazy. How, why would you put yourself in that type of predicament where every 5 minutes you ring, yes baby, I'm still here. Why are you doing all of that? Don't you have some self-awareness you need to go evaluate? Because if you have to be on someone like that, you shouldn't want that person. And I'm not going to say no more because that's some people's reality. That is some people's, you shouldn't have to do all that, is all I'm saying. If somebody loves you, you should never have to do all that. Um, so yeah. So, and also, you have to make sure if you are doing all that, that it's not coming from past trauma and emotional baggage because you got cheated on in the past. So you got cheated on. So every man or every woman you get with now, every single second, you harassing them. If you guys go in public and they say, hey, to somebody of the opposite sex, you have a problem. You out with your woman and she just speaking to people, you have a problem. You out with your man and he's just speaking to people, you have a problem. And this is something else. Say you're out and about and they speak to a coworker, because you live in a city, right? And their coworker walks up and you like, why are you talking to her? Why are you talking to him? And the person feels the animosity. Mind you, they have to work together. And instead of being like the good husband or the good wife, and when I say that, I mean that, like, where when the person gets back to work, they're like, oh yeah, I really like your husband. Or women are like, I really like your wife. She's cool and she's pretty too. And are men like, man, your husband, he seemed like a good guy. I would like for us all to, have a little dinner together or something. And you like, that'll never happen because you're so mean and you're so controlling and you're so connected with yourself that you take all of that as an attack on you personally, because obviously in your past somebody must have done you some kind of dirty, and now everybody else must suffer. must suffer for whatever it is that you went through in the past. And I only made light of that and try to, take the little edge off. Because, like I said, I'm not trying to judge nobody, but some stuff does have to be addressed. Like, you cannot keep going in these relationships and you're judging everybody based off of what somebody else did to you. Like, you're not even nice. You meet women, just say you're a man, you meet women, and they all have to tell you, like, I don't like how you said that, or I don't like how you talking to me. And you think it's them. And you just keep going on and on about it. And you keep going through life, and nobody finds you to be pleasant to deal with. Or you're a woman, and every man that you get with is like, I cannot, they're trying to run from you. And it's because there is something to it. There is something to it. You can't just keep hearing the same things over and over again and not take accountability and say, maybe it's time for me to work on myself and do something that will benefit me. And that is change my attitude. Yeah, that's definitely something that needs to transpire. And I just don't think that it's a good idea to negate every complaint that people give you. If too many people are saying the same thing about you need to take that into consideration. So now we have identifying common obstacles to healthy relationships and how self improvement can overcome them. Now, in this particular module, I say to the participants, write a journal entry or discuss with a trusted friend or a therapist about any past emotional wounds or unresolved issues that might be affecting your current relationships or your willingness to enter new ones. So, the reason why I say it like that is because some people are going through problems in their current relationship, but some people aren't even able to get into a new relationship because of past traumas that they have not dealt with. And I am a strong advocate for getting professional help, going to get counseling, going to see a therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist. You might need some medication. I don't know. But going to see a professional when life is in shambles is not a bad idea. But what I don't want you to do, because this seems to be the norm, because you need help in some counseling, that doesn't mean your counterpart, ouch, that doesn't mean that your counterpart does. I'm going to say that again in another way. Because you might need to go see a therapist, that does not automatically mean that your husband, wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, courtmate, whoever, that doesn't mean that they do. Because sometimes some people who are in treatment or who need to seek treatment, they feel like everybody else should get help. I hate to say, that's not how this thing works. Your mental health is your priority. And you can't put that off on other people, like, make it a us problem, because it's just not. Go get the help you need so that if they go through something when they need help, they could go get the help that they need. Just because you need help doesn't mean that they need help. That's called accountability. Weighing in and seeing, hey, I'm the problem, or I'm not the problem. If you're not the problem, you're not the problem. But if you are the problem, own it and get help. Don't try to put it off on everybody else. Like, now you going to your mom, I think we need to go to counseling. No, you need to go to counseling because obviously she's dealing with what she needs to deal with. Now, there is family counseling and mediations and stuff like that. I'm not saying there's not, but it just irks me when people who need help want other people to get help. You need to go get help first. Maybe you going to get help would allow them to want to even be a part of that journey with you. but you can't put it off on other people because your mental health is something that you should take care of before you get into a relationship. So the key, some more key concepts is common challenges in relationships, such as communication issues, lack of trust, and unrealistic expectations. I'm just going to focus on the unrealistic expectations first because we're just in that time where this whole modern versus traditional is getting out of hand. And I just want to weigh in on something really fast about unrealistic expectations for a male and female. As a woman, if you're expecting a man to just pay for everything and you do nothing but just spend the money, look pretty, and get rewarded with everything because of your looks or your intimacy, and you think that that's how a marriage is gonna work, um, I don't know because I'm not a man, but I will tell you this: if it's all about your looks, there's somebody that looks better. So if he only has you because of your looks, I'm praying for you, sister, because there's somebody that's going to catch his eye that looks better. So my best advice to you is to be a complete woman, meaning you look good, you smell good, you know how to cook, you know how to clean, you know how to take care of babies when they come into the picture, or he might already have children, you know how to take care of children because he has children, and you know how to conduct yourself, and you know how to, number one, you know how to submit to his leadership, because what man in his sane mind is about to provide for a woman who doesn't even listen to him and doesn't even respect him? Why would he be paying your bills, taking care of you, and you don't even know how to talk to him? That's number one. Let's not even talk about cooking and cleaning, but I'm as general conversation. You don't know the man's getting disrespected every which way, and you think that because you pretty or you can give him intimacy, that so I did my part. And you really mean this. Like, if that man were to go get another woman, you'd lose your mind, even though you know within your heart that you're not doing right by that man. You just feel like, I'm a woman. That's good enough. He has somebody in the house with him. That's good enough. I don't have to do anything else. And you're okay with that, but you want to be a wife and you want to be respected, and you got demands, and you want this new car, and you want all of this, and you can't even say thank you to the man properly. Like, did you even thank him for buying groceries? Oh, let me get this right. Because, and this is something I'm going to address, unrealistic expectations. Some of you brothers are setting yourself up for doom, because the reason why the woman that you have is not grateful is because she never in her life had to take complete care of herself. And when I say this, I mean that. Listen closely. If a woman went from her parents' home to getting pregnant, having a home of her own, but she's on Section 8 or some type of welfare or some type of food stamps, she doesn't pay health insurance. Like, I'm gonna just be honest, like, my health insurance is like $381 a month, right? So if I have a husband that's paying that health insurance for me, whoa, I'm so thankful for that. And that's just one bill, right? Because with or without a husband, I have to have health insurance, right? But this is the mindset. So you get into a relationship with a woman, she don't really have no bills these day and ages, especially if she has a child or children. These women are living for free. Like, they're living for free. They're eating for free. So of course they don't care about, they're saying stuff like, I don't want to go to um, cheesecake factory. I don't want to, because they don't know the value of a dollar. Because those hard working women who are working hard every day and paying these bills and they don't qualify for benefits because they make too much money. And it doesn't even really have to be a lot of money, but that's just the way our government sets things up. So these women that are out here busting their behinds, they don't care where you're taking them to eat. They're happy that they didn't have to pay for it. I know that's how it was for me. Like I mean, when you're a woman and you're paying for everything, you respect a man that comes in and buys groceries. Because I'm telling you, my grocery bill, I mean, I could probably go in the grocery store and just for a dinner, I'm spending like $100. I'm being honest, because I like to cook my own food and I like to cook what I like to eat and I like to cook it a certain way. So I have to have everything I need. But I'm just saying, so if I'm married and my husband, which I haven't bought groceries since we've been married, like, but I'm just saying, the fact that I don't have to buy any food and I'm eating really good, I'm happy, baby. Like, thank you, honey. Every single time he buys groceries, I'm like, thank you, honey. Every time, I mean, even something simple as paying my phone bill. Thank you, honey. Because I'm an earner. Like I am a earner. I'm one of those women that if I don't know how to do nothing else, I know how to make money. Like that's one of the things I'm known for is I know how to get to that bag. And I've been getting to that bag for a long time. And so that being said, I'm paying out of pocket for everything. So if I'm doing that as a single woman and I get married and now I don't have to do that, I'm loving that man. I'm what you want to eat, baby. I mean, what can I do to make your life happy? What can I do to show you that I'm grateful to everything that you bring to the table because I was making my own table and then cooking on top of that too. So I'm not quite sure that my brothers understand why some women are ungrateful. It's not a certain caliber of women that are ungrateful. It's the underachievers that are ungrateful because they don't know what it's like to earn everything they eat, wear. They don't know what that feels like. So they're coming from a situation that they weren't providing 100% for themselves ever, you know? And sometimes that's generational. Like their parents lived in the projects, they lived in the projects, or their mom was in Section 8, they're on Section 8. So it's like generations of women who are man haters, and that's because they don't really need a man. And I'm being honest, like they say stuff like, I don't need a man. You guess what? They mean that because they literally live in affordable homes. They get free food because they're shopping in the same stores and we're swiping credit cards and they're swiping EBT food stamps. And I'm not judging nobody that's on it, but I'm just saying that is why some women are so ungrateful. They get everything for free. You paying for medical coverage. You can't even select where when you want to go to the doctors, you like, do I really need to take the ambulance? You get your head could be leaking blood and you like, I'm gonna drive to the hospital because you thinking about that ambulance bill. They don't care. They don't have to pay for that. Um, I'm just saying that this is the mentality of some people when a person doesn't know the value of a dollar and all that comes with spending a dollar. Like when I used to work a job, I used to think like this, like, the last job I worked, I think it was like $30 an hour. And then with overtime, that's like time and a half. So it was like $45 an hour because I was always getting overtime. But I'm just saying, like, that's like, I can't even remember like what it felt like to buy something, and I used to be like, if I say I worked and I'm like, let me buy me this. So I say I bought me like a pocketbook that was like 400. That was then, little girl stuff, the $400 bag, But if you worked all week and stuff, that's actually some money that you're spending on a pocketbook to spend $400. You're making like $1,800 a week, and you spend $300 on a bag. That you're doing something right. But I'm just saying, I would sit there and calculate like, that was, if it was a 300 bag, that was 30 hours. I mean, that was 10 hours worth of work. So I'm thinking about, like, I slaved 10 hours to buy that bag. you know and I'm making humor of it, but that's how I used to think. Like, if I bought myself a coat, it was like $1,000. I'm like, woo! You know how many hours I worked to buy that coat? I'm just saying, like, when you work and earn your own money, mind you, like I said, that was years ago. Like, I don't work anywhere. I do for myself, and I'm an advocate for do for self. Um, Everybody's not meant to be a business owner. Everybody's not meant to employ people. Everybody's not meant to run a corporation. Everybody's not meant for that. There are some people that are good workers, because guess what? Business owners need them. They need good workers. So I'm not ever going to discourage people from getting a trade and going to school so that they can help other people run their business. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, some people don't want a business. They actually want to just go to work and come home. Everybody has a role to play. So I don't bash anybody. I don't care where you work at. If you're working at McDonald's, more power to you. Like, that's still a job. I applaud you for getting up every day and going to make you some money, because guess what? When your bills is due, you got your own money. So how can you bash somebody working somewhere? And some people do it and don't even have any money coming in. So it's like, that's so foolish. I respect anybody making money, because money makes the world go round. But back to what I was saying, you know, a woman who never earned her own way is going to be ungrateful, because she doesn't know the value of a dollar. And that's why, if you're a wise man, before you even marry a woman, you will see, because if you're a careless man with money too, then it doesn't matter. But if you're a man that understands how to build generational wealth, and how to save, and how to live within means, you can't get with a foolish woman, because she's never going to have anything, because her mentality is that it's free because everything comes free to them. Free food, free housing, or low income housing. So your whole bills is no more than $500 a month. Some people paying two. And these are women that are out here the loudest, talking about wealth and talking about what they will and will not accept from a man. I just wanted to touch on that. The best thing a brother can do is see how a woman provides for herself before he's in her life. If a woman can't take care of herself, then that's not a responsible adult, because that's called being an adult, being able to pay your bills, being able to keep your upkeep. If you meet a woman and she's like, I need $20 to get my nails done. I mean, first of all, nails haven't cost $20 since I was like 14 years old. So if I don't know where you're going to get your nails done for $20, but I've heard it be said. So I'm just saying, hair, nails, makeup, all of that stuff, that's part of a woman's upkeep. That's maintenance. That's not self-love. That's maintenance. That's what she needs to keep looking good so that she could put her best foot forward in the world. So if you meet a woman and you got to do all these things as soon as you meet her, I mean, ask yourself, what is this called? If she's happy with a hairdo, I mean, there's so much other things to be worried about. I mean, so it's just like that. Like, that's maintenance. That's the last thing I'm looking for when I meet a man. Like, I'm not. Everything that he could do for me, I already could do for myself. And that's not being independent. That's called being an adult. Like an adult, like being an adult. You should be leaving your home to move in with him. Okay? That's an adult. You leaving your home to move with your man, your husband. That's an adult, not leaving my girlfriend's home, my mama's home. You don't even have a home of your own, and you got these big demands for what he must do and what he must have. Or you living in Section 8s or sub housing, you know, low income housing, and you got all this, you're ungrateful that this man's trying to take you from that situation into something better, and you got all these demands on the man. So that's unrealistic. And for a man, now you meet a woman, she works and you work, and you've realized that you need her income to make the marriage stable. And you expect her to go to work every day and come home and clean and cook and cater to your every beck and need, but you still want her to work. And she has to be there for you 100% as well, meaning that you don't want to clean, you don't want to cook, you don't want to do anything, but you expect this woman to just be superwoman, basically. Like she gonna go work same amount of hours a week as you, but all of the house chores is on her, and you're okay with that. Now, for me personally, even when I worked, I cooked, I cleaned. You know, I don't really like a man cooking. I mean, my husband can cook. He's a really he cooks. He say he can't cook. He say he can't cook, but he can cook. And but I prefer to cook. Like I want to serve him, you know, and I earn money too. But I earn money for me because my husband is the type of man, your money's no good with him. Like a woman's money. He don't want none of my money. He don't want me to do anything. I have to like buy him something and make him take it. You know, like he's not a man that likes for a woman to do anything financially. He wants to be the one to do it. And with that being said, here's a lesson in that. Whether your man has a lot of money or not, if that man is the type of man that leads, you follow his lead. You don't be this crazy woman that gets into a situation and now you want to live above the man's means. I don't care if he has a lot of money. That doesn't mean he has to waste all of his money on the frivolous stuff that you keep coming up with. You know, I think that you should earn some money for yourself. If you need certain stuff and you feel like he's not doing enough, why aren't you? Where's your money at? Like, stop putting these crazy demands and say that this is what marriage is, because that's not what having a husband means. Having a husband does not mean you have a personal ATM whenever you feel like it. Like, that's a foolish woman. And money going out, it's not the same as money coming in. Money should be coming in more than is going out. You should make sure your man's money is well spent and well invested. And whatever he does buy for you, there's a reason, not just crazy, like wasting this man's money because you didn't have to earn it. And that's so stupid, you know, and that's a mentality that does have to end. Like, stop trying to take a man for all he has. Like, if you know the value of a dollar, then you're not going to do that to your husband. And vice versa, because some men get in relationships with women and the women are earners or have more, or some men move into homes with women. Some men, you know, they rely on the woman. And in that situation, like, if you're not going to be a man that can enhance her, why are you with her? Like, and that's for male and female. Why are you with a person that you are not an asset? You're a liability. They're going to get tired of you, whether you're male or female. They're going to get tired of you. I'm just thankful that I have a husband that provides and I don't have to pay no bills. And I know I'm just being honest. I'm grateful. Now, if I had to pay bills, like say he was a 50-50 man, I would have to pay 50-50 with him, because that's what his requires is that because when you get with somebody and you marry somebody, you guys agree upon whatever it is. So we can't have the discussion about 50-50 relationships because we don't have a 50-50 relationship. We have a 100-100 relationship, meaning that we both give of ourselves to the complete capacity. Now, my husband does not accept me doing anything financially as far as paying bills and stuff. But I will tell you something, women, just because you have a husband that doesn't want you to pay the bills doesn't mean you can't buy that new couch set. Doesn't mean you can't buy him a car. Doesn't mean you can't buy a new stove or a new fridge. See, don't get it misunderstood. Just because he will do this and do that, you should as well be investing your money into the home because that's what adults do. You have to live there and you want to create heaven for that person as well. So if I see a stove I want to buy, I'll buy the stove. If I see a couch that would look good in our home, I'll buy the couch. You know, I'm thankful that I don't have to pay the bills, but I can still beautify our home and I can still, buy him gifts if I want to. Um, and that's called being married and that's called being an adult. You're not using somebody because it's like you're using somebody if you're in a relationship just for what the man can do for you and you're not trying to give him heaven as well. What does he get out the deal? And that's where it comes down to. He could go get anybody else. If you think that your looks are that severe that's going to hold a man, it's not. And the same for a woman. If you're a man and you think you're so handsome that that's all that there is to it, I hate to tell you, that's not it. That's just not all that there is to it. There's more to it. And you definitely need to, once again, do some self evaluation before you get married or in a serious relationship because that certain stuff is just not going to fly in today's time. Men are fed up, women are fed up, everybody is fed up and saying the same thing. So in order to make black on black love, back in style, because it kind of did go out of style, but we have to face our demons. We have to really accept our challenges and go to work on them. We have to. So we're gonna go over one more thing and then that's it. I know you all like, wow, this is a long broadcast. It is. It's 2 hours long, but in the future there will be guests, so it's going to be a little different because there's other people chiming in and giving their perspective. But for now, today, it's just me. Okay, so we went over this kind of. It says boundary check. Assess your current boundaries in various areas of your life, such as work, family, and friendships. Consider whether they are aligned to your values and needs or if adjustments are necessary. And I'm a firm believer that you have got to have boundaries. Like, I don't even like certain conversations. Like say somebody is talking to me. I'm a professional, by the way, so, and I'm not talking about like how people say I'm a professional. No, I'm actually a professional. So I always have to conduct myself like that because most of the times, like, people that are talking to me are my clients, like literally paying me to provide a service for them. So those boundaries have to be clear. And then some of them, they know me outside of my practice. So they want to, bond, and I just can't do it because I'm still in professional mode. So it kind of could offend some people, even in a relationship, I don't want my husband to ever view me like this person and then I'm this part. No, I'm always the professional. Like I'm all this is what he gets. This is what you guys see is what he sees and gets. Like I can't do certain stuff. I can't act a certain way. I can't because that's my image. And this is part of the self awareness before you even get into a relationship. You cannot be a different person with your mate than you are with other people because your mate will develop a sense that they don't believe in you or that they feel like you're putting on an act. And since you put on acts, can they trust that you actually love them? And I know that seems like I'm reaching, but I'm really not. I'm not. It's true because you just turn on and turn off. I don't get it. I don't know how you could do that and think someone won't find you to be repulsive because it's like, say you just curse somebody out and then you get on the phone and you're like, yeah, hi. Oh, oh yeah, 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 yeah. But you just called them every bad name that there was, or you just was acting just completely wretched and ghetto and ignorant or whatever, and then now you're another person. It's like, no, this is who I am, and everybody in my life has to respect me by the way I conduct and carry myself, or I just remove myself because I'm not going to become something that I'm not familiar with or I'm not proud of. That comes from self-awareness. And I know you guys heard me say a little while ago that that was one of the reasons why I fell in love with my husband. His demeanor, it's so calm, it's so polite, it's so easygoing, and it helps me in my practice because I can't have like a chaotic life and then help people. My clients look to me for help, and if I was going through all sorts of hell in my home, how can I give the best part of me? Because see, my home life pours into me, and then the excess, I use that and I give back, but you can't pour from an empty well. So that's why I'm thankful, that I do have a mate that understands that, hey, this is what I do. This is who you married, a person that they are their business. Like I am my brand, So everything I experience in my life, it comes back into my brand. It comes back into my business. It is the energy I operate in. So I'm thankful that I have, you know, a mate that understands that, and I'm able to be in my profession and deal with my clients, and I'm happy because I wouldn't be able to do it if I wasn't happy and I wasn't at peace, and I didn't have a calm mate that knows how to, let's meditate. He does everything that is just like Zen, I'm telling you. And those that know him, because I know people watching this, they're like, this, here she go again, talking about her husband. But I promise you, if you know anybody that's watching this that knows him, they'll tell you, like, yeah, that man is something else. That man's like an angel walking, he's like an angel. And I'm very thankful. Like, I mean, men like that just don't exist. Just don't exist. And I'm just thankful. So the other thing, self-awareness is the foundation upon which healthy relationships are built. By understanding yourself better, you can develop emotional intelligence, improve communication, and set healthy boundaries that lead to authentic and fulfilling connections with others. Yeah. So I'm so thankful that you all are on this thread and have tuned in and have participated, commented, shared, all of that. I'm really thankful. So thankful. It means a lot. So, one of the last keys, because there's a lot, if you downloaded the PDF, you know that there's a lot of pages that was in module one. But one of the things I want to say before this live ends, right, is I want to say this. On number 3, bullet C, I have forgiveness. It says practice forgiveness, not just towards others, but also towards yourself. Forgiving yourself for past mistakes and forgiving others for their wrongdoings can be freeing and promote emotional healing. And see, you can't change the past, and you can't force someone else to look past your past. Oh, past, but you get what I'm saying. You can't force them to look past your past because that's one of them controlling things. You can't control how another individual thinks. But what you can do is forgive yourself and forgive those involved on the strength of progressing and moving forward and elevating. And promise yourself that you're worthy of forgiving yourself and don't do it again. Like, move on, grow. Don't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's not healthy. You know, all of this is about healthy relationships. But the healthiest relationship, the most important relationship, is the relationship you have with yourself. Now, if you're a religious person or a life person, because see, I'm Muslim, but that's a lifestyle. It's not a religion, it's a lifestyle. So I make sure that the God in me is at peace. First and foremost, that the God in me is at peace, because that's the only thing that really matters, is the God in me is at peace, because I can't be good to nobody else if I'm not happy and good to myself, being good to myself. So that's one of them. Learn to forgive. I mean, why are you carrying malice and baggage from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? You still mad at your mom and your aunts for something that happened when you were a little child, and you think that's healthy? At this point, it doesn't even matter whether they asked for forgiveness or not. Forgive them and let it go so that you can have a better life, and that so that you can have healthy relationships. So seek support. That's another one I have on here, you know, and we went over that some. But the biggest reason why is because it can help you process emotions and gain different perspectives, new perspectives, because sometimes you just don't see things through the lens of other people. And they might be wrong, but it's good to understand why they feel that way, you know? That's good to understand why they feel that way. So that's, yeah. So mindfulness and meditation, we talked about this, but incorporating it activities and your routines, right? Can reduce stress. Also, it can make you stay present. So, make you stay present, meaning that, look, the past is the past, and the future, I cannot worry about that today. I could just live in the present moment. And in the present moment, I need to have a peace of mind. That's what I need. I need a peace of mind. So I'm going to focus on now. I can't worry about what happened yesterday. I can't worry about what's to come tomorrow. Today, I need my daily bread, my peace of mind. And that's what mindfulness and meditation does. It keeps you present. It keeps you in the present moment so that you won't drift away to yesterday and you won't get carried off into tomorrow. Because I always tell people this, when it comes to depression and anxiety, which most people are suffering from, depression is worried about yesterday, right? Anxiety is worried about tomorrow. So just deal with the stress of today because they're both stresses, but one is completely past tense. That's depression. And future stress is called anxiety. So now you're going to kill yourself worried about yesterday, and then you're going to kill yourself worried about what's happening tomorrow. Both of them have no control over except whatever you do today masters both of them. So get a grip on today and live in your now. So boundaries and self-care is on here. So set and maintain healthy boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. Engage in self-care activities that nurture your physical and emotional health. So I'm going to say this to somebody that needs to hear this, right? The reason why I made sure I didn't put self-love, I said self-care. Self-care is maintenance, getting your hair cut or going to get your hair styled, getting a manicure, getting a pedicure, getting a massage, getting a foot of some reflexology, whatever it is you might do to, maintain, but that's not self-love because somebody could look like a walking billboard and still be depressed and still have anxiety and still be all messed up in the head. So just getting your hair styled and getting a new outfit, that is not self-love. And people are misconstruing it. They're taking self-love out of hand. That's called maintenance. This is what you do as a civilized person. You groom yourself. I mean, you're even supposed to groom your dog and your pets. You don't call that self-love. Self-love is something totally different. Self-love sounds like this. I am too good to eat that cheap 99-cent burger. That's self-love. Because if I want a burger, I'm going to go to the halal market or the kosher market, and I'm going to get me a good piece of meat that's probably going to cost me a lot more. And guess what? It was raised properly. It was slaughtered properly. The quality's higher because that's what I want to eat, or this is self-love. Self-love. I am not about to have unprotected sex with that stranger and risk catching all types of diseases. That's self-love. You're trying to preserve yourself. Or better yet, I'm not going to be intimate with anybody because guess what? I deserve to be married before sex. That's called self-love. Not getting your hair styled, getting a haircut, getting a manicure, pedicure. That's called maintenance. That's self-care because you're grooming yourself because civilized people should be groomed. That's the difference. So having self-love means I have a set of morals and principles that I live by. And I'm not going to let anybody or anything take me from my personal set of values. Those are my code of ethics. That's self-love, not maintaining this vessel. That's called grooming and maintenance. And there should be a difference. Self-love is not something that you put on you. It's something in you. It's your morality. It's actually the higher aspect of you. It's your essence. Yes, that's what self love is. It's your essence. And we have to keep in mind when we're teaching people about how to heal, because I hear people say all the time, if you love yourself, you get this done. No, that's called maintenance. You just want to look good and smell good and feel good. That's what that's about. That's not self-love. So here goes some activities that you can do while you're on this journey of self-awareness. You can write a letter to yourself acknowledging any unresolved issues or emotional baggage you might be carrying. Be compassionate and gentle with yourself as you explore these feelings. Practice a guided meditation or mindfulness exercise. Focus on letting go of past emotions and embracing the present moment. Engage in a journaling exercise where you reflect on how your past experiences might be influencing your current relationships and your interactions with others. Mind you, this is not just dealing with like a man or a woman that you're interested in of the opposite sex. This is also dealing with all of the relationships you have between your mom, your dad, your aunties, your uncles, nieces, whoever, co-workers, because our characteristics, there are attributes and they're there. So we have to be mindful of those, the flaws, the good, the bad, the ugly, even when we're not in a relationship with the person sexually or intimacy or in regards to courting for marriage. So, who we are should become at the forefront in every relationship. That is self awareness, because you're not a chameleon where you're just blending in everywhere you go. You actually now have your own essence, your own vibe, your own aura, your own energy that you bring wherever you go. So, you're not this person here and that person with that person. You're that person because you did the inner work of finding out this is who I am. I'm aware of myself now. So some of the stuff I went through in the past, I would have never gone through had I know who I am, right? And then also, you don't have to worry about that in the future, because when people come into your sphere, because you are your own planet, so when they're in your orbit, you like, no, 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 no. You moving the clutter out the way and the debris, because you're not interested, because you understand that that's not you. You don't just accept everything that comes your way like a vacuum. You let stuff orbit around you and you get to reach out and pull. This is something I need. And if it's not, I don't need that. But when you become masterful, you only pull stuff in your orbit that you can utilize. What's good in pulling something that's going to pollute or contaminate your planet? Like, I'm eminent, so I'm on planet eminent. So any and everything that comes my way, I have the power to say, move, because I'm not letting you come forth. So I'm not about to let a known toxin, debris, pollution, come into my orbit. I'm not interested in that. So you got the right to do that. You have the right to refuse access to anybody because they're not beneficial to you. And that's self-love. That's self-awareness, because self-love is more so what's in you, not something you can purchase. It's in you. It's your character. It's your principles, your morality, your ethics. This is what self-love is. So now we are ending today's session. And next time we'll be doing part 2. And we'll have some other guests. But I thank you all for tuning in, and have a good evening. And thank you all who shared. Thank you all who commented. Oh my God. Thank you all for commenting. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for everything because motivated and inspired. So thank you to the ones who told me to get back on doing these videos because I did stop for a minute. Thank you. So peace and blessings. I'm Muslim. I'm just going to say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa ta'ala barakatuh. And that just means may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. May the peace and blessings of God be upon you. And if there's anything that you have a question about from this broadcast, just contact me. Peace.